Hey everybody. Today we're going to talk about reusability on the Appsmith platform. Now there's quite a bit to cover and we don't have a lot of time, so let's kind of jump right in. As we talk about this, we're going to break this up into a few different sections, different parts of the platform where you can achieve reusability and how you can do that. What you'll see is that some of these things you probably know, others you might not, so hopefully there's something for everybody. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to recognize one of the things that's very interesting about what happens as a developer becomes more experienced. One of the things that we see is we actually see fewer lines of code that are written as they become more experienced. Now, there's a number of reasons why this is. They could have a more strategic role, but often we learn that senior developers and more experienced developers write more elegant code, and they also are better at reusing the work that they've already done. So let's talk about that today and about how you can actually get more accomplished with less effort by reusing the work that you've already done on the Appsmith platform. As I mentioned, we're going to break this into a few different sections. First, we're going to talk about reusability at the app level. Then we're going to talk about reusability at the page and subpage level. We'll talk about how we can reuse widgets. We'll talk about how we can reuse JS and queries, and some things that are coming up, which you may have heard about, but we'll dig into a little bit more. To start with, let's take a look at app-level reusability. Now, one of the big things that you'll know if you've used Appsmith for any amount of time is that you can actually clone an entire application. If you go up in any application to the top menu, you'll see that you have the ability to export an application. And this is going to export the entire application as a JSON file. However, it goes more, we get more from there. What you can also do is you can sync your Git repo to an application. So what this allows you to do is to add version control to any application that you have, and this can also allow you to more easily coordinate across your team. Multiple developers can connect to the same repo and push and pull changes across different branches, merging those branches and pulling work in and reusing it over and over again. So this is very much like what you'd expect to see in any normal developer workflow. What we can also do is make an application forkable. What this means is that anyone who has access to this application can actually go in and one-click clone the app and reuse and rebuild on top of it. This is the foundation for the entire template system that we have built in with all of the public templates that are available. But it also means that you can create private templates to make it easier for your team to start 80% of the way done. Finally, as I mentioned before, we can actually share templates out to the public. Now, this is great if you've got some work that you think could be useful for others, but also you can go and take a look at our community library and see if there's anything there that you want to pull in. Now, the great thing about it is it's very easy to fork an app, and then you can take a look and see how it was written. You can see what data sources are there, what widgets, how they were configured. And in fact, we find a lot of people actually really enjoy using templates as a way to explore and learn about how to use the platform to do different things. So if you have something worth sharing, go ahead and feel free to share it with the community. And if you're looking for things for inspiration and for different ideas, you can go check out the community library on our community portal, which is community.appsmith.com. So we've seen that app level reusability is baked right in. You've got turnkey apps and you've got some really high level starters. This means that you can move very quickly and you can start with a full-fledged application right out of the gate. But what happens when you want to go below the full app? Let's talk about that at the page and the subpage level. So one of the things that people may know if they've used templates for a while is you actually have the ability to pull in pages from a specific template. So if you go and you add a new page, you'll have multiple options. One of those options is to add a page from a template. And there's a selection of templates there that have multiple pages, which are designed to allow you to pull in from one of those pages to start a new page in your application. This can be a great way to get going. However, there's another way that actually is a little bit more powerful, and I don't think very many people know about it. So you'll see I've notated here as one of the best kept secrets in Appsmith right now. And this is called partial import and export, or PI for short. What this allows you to do is instead of exporting the entire application or even an entire page, you can select just parts of a page to be exported. If you go to any page, click on the three buttons and choose Export, you'll get a window showing a collection of all of the different items on that page. JavaScript, widgets, queries, everything. And you can select which items that you want to export. Now, instead of exporting the entire application, this will just export a subset, which you can then pull into another page or another application. And as we'll see later, this is actually the foundation of the Building Blocks initiative, which is coming out very soon. If you haven't already tried this out, give it a shot. This is a really great way to take some of the work you've already got and reuse it quickly and easily. So we've seen how at the page and subpage level, we can have higher order bundles of configuration that we can pull in and that we can reuse. So let's talk about just widgets for a moment. And there's a couple of different ways that we can actually make use of widgets and reuse different widgets with their configuration across multiple pages and applications. So let's look at widget reusability. Now, one thing that's great, and a lot of people already probably know, is that you can actually just copy and paste widgets, either individual or collections of widgets. Now, you can do this by using the command keys, Control-C, Control-V. You'll also notice that when you select an item, there is a copy button that's available. One of the great things about this is that you can pull out individual widgets or nested widgets, which are going to be inside a container or a list or even a modal. So you can grab and pull out anything that you want, go to any other page in any other application, and you can paste, and that's a quick and easy way to pull things out and reuse them. Another thing that can make that even more powerful is the ability to group widgets together. So what you can do is simply highlight and select a group of widgets, and you'll get a little menu that pops up, as you can see here, allowing you to do things like copy, paste, delete, or you can group them together. What this will do is create a new container, putting all of those widgets inside the container, which you can then grab and copy that entire container with all of its subsets together. This goes along really well with the partial import export that we saw before, because when you select, you can select one container and everything inside of it will be grouped together for you. So as we've seen, there's a couple of different ways that you can reuse UI components and widgets across the entire platform, whether that's just using Control-C and Control-V, using the buttons to copy, or grouping things together to put them in a place where you need them. Now let's take a look at JavaScript and queries. Now, this may be a place where people are not familiar of a few little simple options that can make your life a lot easier. One of the first things that you'll see, if you take a look at any of your JavaScript or queries that are listed, there's a 3-dot menu. When you click on this, you'll see that you have the ability to copy or even move this particular item, whether it's JavaScript or a query, to a completely different page. Now, this is a really fast and easy way to make sure that you have information and code that is across multiple pages in an app. You can make sure that your queries are across multiple pages as well. So if you're creating a multi-page app and you've got some work that's already done and you need it on another page, it only takes a moment and you can get it right over there. Now, sometimes you want it across multiple pages as well as across multiple applications. And this is a place where I would highly recommend considering building your own custom JavaScript library. Now, this is actually much simpler than it seems. We actually have a couple of articles and tutorials that are baked in the portal around this, but we have a full code repo that you can clone, which has some supporting information and tools there to allow you to do things like automatically generate the links and some documentation if you have the right comments. So take a look at the Foundry repo if you want more information. But at the very minimum, you can take anything that you have on GitHub and you can use JS Deliver to quickly allow you to grab and reuse that code across any of the applications that you use. The great thing about that is that once you've done that, you can actually go in and you can update that code and all of your applications will be updated as well. If you're looking at reusing JavaScript, which you probably should, you can use public and widely known libraries available or create your own. So as we've seen, there's a couple of interesting ways where you can share and reuse JavaScript and queries across the platform. Very easy, very fast. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, hopefully at this point, you've already seen a couple of things that maybe you haven't noticed before or you haven't discovered on your own, which are going to make your life easier. But let's talk about what's coming. And when I say coming, I mean now. Starting this spring and moving on through the summer, we're going to start to see a rollout of some different features that are available on the platform for reusability, primarily blocks and packages. So when we talk about building blocks, which is the first one, if you've created a new page or new application recently, you've probably already seen the beginnings of building blocks. Building blocks are collections of widgets and sometimes JavaScript and queries as well, which are bundled together to make it easy for you to take larger, higher order components and put them on the page. So you can see here we have building blocks for everything basic from viewing and editing data to doing lookups and all kinds of other things as well. Now, this is based on the partial import-export feature that we saw earlier, and we're going to continue to double down and increase the capabilities for you to create and share your own building blocks. Now, this is really based on the community edition, so this will be available to all users. It's going to make it very fast and very easy to create and share your own higher order components, which is really exciting and something that the community has been looking for. All of the things that we've talked about so far with this reusability talk are things that anyone can use on the platform. But building blocks is really going to make it even faster and easier than ever before. Next, we have this concept of packages. Now, packages is a commercial feature that's going to be available in the paid edition. And as you can see here in an early version, we've already got some of this already working, and it's working really, really well. Now, this is similar to building blocks in that it allows you to create reusable queries, reusable JavaScript items, and soon it will allow you to have reusable blocks of widgets as well. And these packages are groups of these reusable items that are centrally managed, which are going to give you governance and standardization across your entire platform for your self-hosted instances. Now, the great thing about this is for commercial users who are looking for more governance across their whole organization, they'll be able to create, share, and distribute these reusable items privately inside their own instance of the platform. And so that way they can keep things secure, make sure that all the users are using the best things that they have available, and they're going to be following the same standards that they want to enforce inside their organization. As I mentioned, this is going to be a version, a part of the commercial version of the platform. But if you're interested and you want to test some of this stuff out and see what it looks like, reach out to us on Discord and we can see about getting you inside of a beta so that you can test this out. We'd love to put this in as many people's hands as possible and get some of your feedback so we can make it even better than before. So you can see how, even though we have a lot of reusability baked right into the platform, with blocks and packages, it's going to get even faster and even easier. I expect this year we're going to see a huge acceleration in your ability to create more advanced applications, as well as our ability as a community to share and explore and expand upon that across all of the users, across all of the instances that we have. So as we've gone through this, we've seen that we can do app level reusability, we have page and sub-page reusability, and we have widgets, JavaScript, and queries that you can reuse as well as some upcoming features which are going to make it even better. As you can see here, we have a direct link to a filtered view on the community portal with all of the content that we have about reusability. You can also use this QR code, which will take you straight there. If you keep an eye on this, new articles, videos, tutorials, and resources that pop up will be available here as well. So check back often and see what kind of new stuff we have. Hopefully, this has been a very quick but also very helpful view at reusability in Appsmith as of right now. As you've seen, we've got a lot of stuff on the works and we couldn't cover everything that's possibly coming, but hopefully this has given you a great insight into what we've got, what's coming, and how it can make your life easier and faster to build great applications for yourself and for your team.